Hi guys, and welcome back to Danish Fly Tying's YouTube channel, and today we're gonna tie this Bucktail Deceiver variant. It's a Sandeel imitation, this one, and of course we're gonna need some bucktail, and it's important that you get the one with quite long hairs, and we're gonna use some saddle hackles as well in different colors to give it a bit more movement in the water. Yeah, and this kind of flies you can use for almost every predatory fish out there. I use this for Sandeel imitation for sea-run brown trout, and you can tie it a lot bigger and use it for pike fishing as well, you name it. Yes, and I will talk you through the steps in this video, and if you have any questions or any comments on how I'm tying it or the materials I used, please comment down below. And if you like, then subscribe to this channel. That will mean a big deal for me. So yeah, let's get tying. I'm using this GSP. It's 200 denier, but it's quite strong. You can use a bit smaller, but I like to use a quite big thread for this. And first we're gonna lay down a base. Like this, just to secure it and go upwards again. And the hook I'm using, it's this TMC 600 SP size 2. Yes, and first we're gonna make a tail with the bucktail, white bucktail, and have a bunch like this. This is a bit too long, too much. I would like it a bit sparse. I'm taking off the short hairs. And for the tail we don't want the flare, so we're just gonna tie it in quite straight with a flat thread, then push it down to get it around the hook. That's quite good. And just apply the thread pressure down here, that you don't get the flare. And this is extremely durable, this thread, so you can just tie it really hard down to the hook. And yes, then we're gonna build up the body with our bucktail. And the first couple of stations here, sections, where we want a little bit of flare but not too much. And we want to about 1/2 of the tail. It's like this. Sorry about that noise. And I'm gonna tie it in reverse. Spin the thread so it's round, because we want a bit of flare for this one. Press it down. this. And for this fly we can use a tube like this. It could be a pencil or straw. About 1 millimeter from the front of this section, we're gonna spin it so it's round and 2 turns, and then we can control the flare like this, down and up to the, and then make a little cone here. We have a nice flare. Yes, and then just another section, the same thing. Yes, so you can put some flash in down here if you want, but I will take one section more. Press it down. It doesn't matter if you have a bit of the butt sticking out, just gives a little bit of volume to the fly. Which I actually like this. And we take this tool again. And again, 1 millimeter from the tying point, a couple of turns, and then you can control the flare like this, down to the hook shank, and then up again to make this cone. Yeah. And then we're gonna take some flash. I have some kind of flashaboo here in blue and green, which I think is very good for this fly. I'm trying to make some kind of Sandeel imitation for sea trout fishing or sea bass. Yes. And on the top, but a little bit down to the sides, like this. The longest strands are about the length of the bucktail. Then I'm gonna take some feathers for, maybe just for the looks of it, but I really like it. I have a couple of saddles here in chartreuse and blue. Normally put them on top. this, and I have some kind of olive feather here as well for the top, like this. Yeah, and I'm gonna give it some super glue. Like this. And a couple of turns. Secure. Then we can cut it off. Remember not to use your best scissors when you just had the super glue on. Like this. Yeah, and now we're ready for the front body. And now we want a little bit more volume and a bit more flare. And again, we're gonna take off the longest fibers here. You just flip it. And we want about half of the fly here, like this. And we're going to use some of it to make a more volume body, kind of hollow tie. Like this. Remember to spin the bobbin to make it more round, like this. Like this. Then you can get it all around. And then press. And now it will flare out like this, and then we can cut it. We want as I said, a bit of volume, so we're not gonna trim it down to the hook shank. Just spin it around here. And you can hold back the tail so you don't cut off your other sections. And tie this part down. Couple of turns in the front and then go back again. And then you have a nice flare and some volume. Yeah, and this I'm gonna make the last section. Take off the longest. This is for the under part, the bottom part. And again, we want to use some of the flare and some of the oh, I forgot to finish my sentence. We're going to do the same trick as before. Make it round, a couple of turns, like this. And we're going to make the top part as well. Yes, now ready for the top part. It's actually also just Bucktail from the back part of it, the brown part. And again, we're gonna tie it down as underneath. Like this. Make it round. Couple of turns. Press here with your fingers, and then we can cut it in an angle. This is going to be a Sandeel, so it's quite slim in the profile. If I would go for pike fishing or something like that, you can also use this pattern, but it would make it a bit more, give it a bit more volume. Yes, like this. And we're gonna take our tool. Sorry about the phone. I'm gonna separate the bottom and the top part. Give it a squeeze here. Take your thread to the front, and then we're gonna tie it down. A couple of loose wraps up here, and then down to the hook shank again. A hook eye. Yes, like this. I'm quite satisfied with this. And whip finish. Like this. Then UV resin, just for thread. I'm just gonna need a marker for later. Yes. And we're gonna give it some eyes. I'm using UV resin medium. And some 4mm eyes. And we have to align these eyes from the top here, and from the side is fine. A second or two with the touch. And I like a bit of red underneath. A drop here. Like this. And you can see how fluorescent this is. It makes me believe it a bit more in it. I don't know if it's working. It's working on me. And I'm holding back the materials to get the right profile. Like this. And now we're going to build up the head. And I like to go like a millimeter behind the eyes. All the way around. Like this. Get the profile you want. And oh, it's just my wife knocking on the window. And we're gonna give the head some more UV resin medium, and now I'm covering the eyes. Down to the hook eye. Yes, like this. Yes, give it a couple of turns. Like this. And secure it. The resin. And then we are with our final result, and you can put it under a warm water and you get a more slim profile, which look very nice in the box. Yes, that was all for tonight. I hope you liked what you see, and if you like, then give this video a like and subscribe for more fly tying content. See you at the coast.